On Sunday, Tottenham played Leicester City. Tottenham was coming off a defeat to Liverpool in the middle of the week where they lost 2-1 in the closing minutes. Firmino got the header in the corner, and Tottenham falls again to Leicester City, and they're sixth place. They went from being top of the table on Tuesday to being sixth at the conclusion of match day 14. It goes to show you how packed the table is this year. You can go from first to sixth in the matter of 5 days. I think Tottenham is starting to just look like a one-trick pony. They need to play teams that like to attack and get them in their counterattack, and they need to defend. They need to keep a clean sheet. And I think that's a lot to ask for from this Tottenham team, especially if you're making mistakes. Aurier did a dumb foul before the half against Leicester. There's no explanation for it. The player is going away from your goal. He has the back to your goal. It's like a minute or two to go to halftime. The game's 0-0, still in the balance, and it could go either way. You know your team likes to play either ahead or at least 0-0. You don't like to play from behind because it goes away against your tactic, and you just do a dumb foul in a dumb situation, and you cause a dumb penalty, and now you go into the half losing 1-0, and now you're trailing, and you got to throw your whole tactics away. And if there's anything that Mourinho has preached in his team is discipline, and that was just done by Aurier. There's no explanation for it. And then in the second half, Alderweireld gets an own goal, and now Tottenham's down 2-0. They completely have to go away from their game plan now. They can't just sit back and get teams on their counterattack. They got to go propose the game. They got to go send people forward, and they struggle to create chances. If it's not Kane, if it's not Son, then Tottenham really have problems finding somebody else to have some sort of magic, some sort of moment of brilliance. They really struggle to find somebody else. Bell came in the second half, and I mean, he didn't look like the old Bell that we've seen in the Premier League back in his first stint with Tottenham. But that was to be expected. He hasn't had a lot of playing time. They need him to get into form. They need another option. They can't just rely on Son and Kane. Bell needs to find his form. He needs to find his rhythm. He needs to get back at maybe 70-80% of. I don't think he'll ever be the Bell of before. He's 31 years old. He's had a lot of injuries. It looks like he's lost a lot of some of his passion too for soccer. I'm a Real Madrid fan, so just from seeing him for a couple years, it just seems like not getting playing time, and maybe all those injuries kind of caught up to him in the sense of like how much he enjoys his soccer. But if you're able to get 80-85% of the old Bell, then I think that would really help Tottenham and going forward, creating chances, looking lively when Kane and Son are being like they don't have their best games. I think having Bell be that third option is really going to help him. But I mean, Tottenham, are they title contenders still? I don't think so. I think these last few weeks have kind of exposed that they're a one-trick pony, and I don't think you can win. You cannot win the league like that. Not in the Premier League. You can't just sit back. You gotta be a little more offensive. You can't just sit back. That's one of the problems with Tottenham. They don't have another game plan to go to. Once that first one doesn't work, they can't transition in games, and I think that's gonna hurt them. I do have a question. Like, are we gonna see Mourinho open up his team? Is he gonna go away from his set from sitting back, trying to get teams on the counterattack? Like right now, he knows that he has to go get results if he wants to stay in the title race. 6 points behind Liverpool, and Liverpool is on fire. Is he gonna open up his team more? Is he gonna play more offensive player? Are we gonna see Dele Alli get more playing time? Are we gonna see Bell start and just go forward more often, or are we gonna just is Mourinho just gonna sink and die with his tactic? I mean, he might not sink. He might be able to turn it around just doing the same thing he's always done. He might just be stubborn and say, hey, this is tried and true. This is what I do. I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna get teams on their counterattack, and I think that might be the way they're headed. Especially just hearing Mourinho in the press conferences after the game. He said that the team was still kind of like this, didn't start the game against Leicester City that lively. They were still thinking about their loss to Liverpool, and he keeps mentioning that they should have beat Liverpool. And I mean, should have they? Liverpool was the more dominant team. They did have clear chances, but Liverpool was the more dominant team. And then he said that once you give up a penalty, once you give up a own goal, then it's hard to beat a team like Leicester. Like these mistakes happen. So like, how are you able to react to these mistakes? Like, you can't just expect your team to play a perfect game every game, unless you're Liverpool, because they seem like they just play amazing as of right now. But you can't expect to just keep clean sheets and nothing bad is going to happen to your team, and you're able to get every single team on the counterattack, and you're going to win 1-0 or 2-0. Bad things are going to happen, and it's up to Mourinho to figure out how his team's going to react, or just not be put in those positions. Go look for the game. Be more lively. Send players forward. But we'll see how they do the rest of the season. Like I said, this is a crazy Premier League season. It seems like every team finds their rhythm for a couple games, 4, 5, 6 game of stretches of 5 or 6 games, and then they lose their rhythm, and then some other team finds their rhythm for 5 or 6 games, and they take the top position. At the beginning of the season, it was Everton. Then it was Liverpool. Then it was Tottenham. And it was Chelsea for a little bit. Now it's Liverpool. It's starting to look like Manchester United could be one of those teams that take the top of the table for a little bit. It's just a weird season. We'll see if Tottenham is able to bounce back. Chelsea had a similar downturn like Tottenham's having right now. They're able to turn it around. We'll see if Tottenham is able to turn it around. They do have the Wolves next, who have been struggling, so keep an eye out for that. We'll see how Tottenham reacts, how they're able to bounce back, if they're able to get another W against the Wolves.